The terminal went quiet. Not the kind of quiet that comes with peace, but the kind that follows sudden trouble. All eyes turned toward Gate 7 as two uniformed airport police officers rushed past passengers with tense faces. Something was going down. You could feel it in the air. A tall black man holding a leather briefcase stood calmly near the gate. He was just checking his watch, waiting to board a flight to DC. His name was Julian Rivers. His posture was strong. His eyes were alert. He looked like someone important, but you wouldn't know it by what happened next. "Hey, you there?" Officer Jake Miller barked, pointing at Julian like he was calling out a criminal. Julian blinked, confused. "Me?" "You match the description," the second cop, Officer Kyle Evans, said, gripping his baton. "Hands where we can see them." "What description?" Julian asked, holding up both hands slowly. "I'm just waiting for my flight." "Don't play smart," Officer Jake growled. "You're under arrest for suspicious behavior and possible identity fraud." People were staring now. Phones were out. Some were recording. Others whispered and gasped. No one stepped in. "Not yet." Julian stayed calm, but his voice grew firm. "Gentlemen, I assure you, you've got the wrong person." But they didn't listen. Jake shoved Julian against the glass wall while Kyle snapped on handcuffs. "Let's see what you're hiding, Mr. Fancy Suit." "Sir," Julian said through clenched teeth. "You're making a big mistake." "Yeah," Jake sneered. "We'll see who made the mistake once we run your ID." They dragged Julian through the terminal as if he were a criminal. His suitcase rolled behind him, his briefcase left behind on the bench. He said nothing. His face didn't even change. But the panic was coming, just not from him, because in less than 5 minutes, the whole airport was going to stop. And Officer Jake and Officer Kyle, they were about to learn exactly who they had just arrested. Inside the small airport holding room, Officer Jake paced with a proud smirk. "Guy thinks he's someone special." Officer Kyle chuckled. "Probably one of those scammers. Smooth talk, expensive suit, fake ID." Julian sat calmly on the bench, hands still cuffed. "You know," he said softly, "there's a better way to handle things. You could have asked for ID and checked it without dragging me through the airport like a criminal." Jake scoffed. "Yeah, and let a guy like you disappear into the crowd." Julian raised an eyebrow. "A guy like me?" Jake didn't answer. Just then, Kyle looked at the laptop in front of him. He blinked. Froze. Jake, what? This guy? He's real. His ID is not fake." Jake rolled his eyes. "So he's a business guy. Big deal." "No, man," Kyle whispered. "He's Julian Rivers, director of the FBI." Jake stopped walking. The room fell silent. "What did you say?" Kyle turned the laptop around. The screen showed an official government page with Julian's picture and name. Director Julian Rivers, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Jake's face turned pale. Julian looked at them both. Calm. Cool. Like the moment belonged to him now. "I tried to tell you I was on my way to meet the Attorney General in DC. You just arrested the FBI director in front of hundreds of people with cameras." Kyle stammered. We didn't know." "Didn't ask either," Julian replied. Within minutes, airport security officials arrived, followed by a rush of phone calls, supervisors, and government contacts. One airport manager looked like he was going to faint. "We're so sorry, Director Rivers," the man said. Julian stood as someone finally removed the cuffs. He adjusted his suit jacket. "I don't want apologies," he said. "I want accountability." "Sir, it was just a misunderstanding," the manager tried to speak. "No," Julian cut him off. "It was bias. It was assumption, and it was abuse of power." That's when his assistant walked in, holding his briefcase. And just like that, the room flipped, because Julian wasn't the one on trial anymore. 2 days later, a press conference was held in front of the airport. Julian stood at the podium, calm and sharp, flanked by other FBI officials. "I was mistaken for a suspect because of how I looked," he said. "Not because of facts, not because of evidence, but because of assumption." I'm not sharing the story for sympathy. I'm sharing it for change. Reporters shouted questions. When asked, what will happen to the officers? Julian glanced at the cameras. The body cam footage is already under review by the Department of Justice. But here's what I'll say. No one is above the law. Not even those who wear the badge. Back at the airport, Jake and Kyle had already been placed on administrative leave. An internal investigation was launched. The video had gone viral. Millions of views, with people shocked, angry, and demanding justice. Online, the hashtag Justice for Julian trended for days. But Julian didn't want revenge. Instead, he worked quietly to launch a new FBI initiative, mandatory bias training for all law enforcement officers in the country. That training would now bear his name, the Rivers Protocol. One of the passengers who recorded the incident, an older woman named Eleanor, later said in an interview he never raised his voice. He never fought back. And still, he had all the power. That's leadership. That's strength. As for Jake and Kyle, they never wore a badge again. Because sometimes the real justice doesn't come with shouting or violence. Sometimes it comes in silence, when the truth walks back into the room wearing a suit and a badge far bigger than yours. The story ended with the implementation of the Rivers Protocol, a nationwide shift towards unbiased law enforcement, and a lasting reminder that true power lies in integrity and the unwavering pursuit of justice.